introduced the stories.
Yeah.
Well, I think they were just personal stories before, but they've now added stories for pages, because I've just noticed at the top of my feed, there's all the different pages that I'm managing. And suddenly there's a little plus button being like, do you want to add a story?
Okay, so that's so exciting because typically LinkedIn pages, remember we just had um
Leslie?
Leslie, thank you. Leslie, I didn't forget your name. I was just pausing for dramatic effect because you're worth the dramatic effect. Okay, so no, but that's so exciting because she was on. It's like, yeah, LinkedIn pages, there's something to them, but the stuff goes down in the profile. That's really where stuff, the action is happening. The pages are a little bit secondary. And so what that tells me though,
Game changer.
yeah. So now your page content, especially at the beginning, whenever you roll out a new feature, LinkedIn wants to get it out there and get
Push it.
tests and push it and get people seeing it and all that type of stuff. So
And there's nobody else.
yeah, you got a
Like,
captive audience.
literally nobody else. The only story in my feed right now is the LinkedIn story feed, promoting LinkedIn stories.
That's like when you go to like a media publishing site, like a news site, like especially a niche one, and the ads are all house ads. So house ads, when you're doing magazines and stuff like that, are ads by the house, right? You think of gambling and a casino. The house is the house, is the organization that's running the thing. So whenever the ads are all the house ads, then you know that they don't have a lot of inventory, because of course they wouldn't show their own ads if they had enough inventory. So, oh, this is very exciting. Okay, this week we've got to do some LinkedIn stories. We got to take some of our I want to take some of our TikTok stuff and put them on LinkedIn and see how they fly. Because
I was gonna say, Morgan, I hope you're listening.
yeah. Okay. You get them going? Yes. Okay, good. Awesome. This is so exciting. LinkedIn stories, and get your OBS thing that you're doing in your VR headset.
Morgan, just erase everything on your fall focus and just LinkedIn stories.
Yeah, your focus for this week is that's it. Nothing else matters in our lives. But the thing is though, Arthur, that's why I love marketing so much, is because literally new stuff comes up and it's like, oh, I got to get into that. I want to really experience that, play
sink your
with
teeth
that,
into it.
think it, chew on the stories. Yep. Maybe spit it out if it doesn't taste so hot.
Reheat it.
Reheat it. Yes. Microwave it. Kind of sniff it and see, yeah, I could probably stomach having some of that. I'm kind of hungry and I don't really want to cook something new. It's about 6 or 7 days old.
Just throw a little salt on it.
Yeah. A bit of salt. You can mix it up with different. Yeah. Okay. Anyways, this is a smorgasbord episode, right? How far do you want to take this metaphor?
I'm feeling smorgy.
Yeah. Metaphor, what are we going to do with this? Okay, so I've got something for you that
Metaphorg.
Yep. Okay, you just kind of ruined all of that, Arthur.
You wanted me to take over the jokes this week, right?
Oh, that's right. It was my request. I feel like the careful what you wish for. I'm kidding. You're awesome. I'm so kidding. This is part of the joke. The joke is the joke. Okay, so actually, I wanted to talk about something that a client said to me the other day, because the client was basically saying, I want you to bug me because, we're like, the client's not being responsive or anything else like that. So the client was saying, I want you to bug me. You have my full permission to bug me. I'd rather be pissed off than pissed on.
Letting that one sink in.
Yes. And I thought to myself, that's like really clever. I need to bring that onto the show, as part of the pre-show or something like that. And then I thought to myself, I don't know. I mean, it's one of those ones that I think sounds clever, sounds awesome, but it doesn't hold up to, I don't know, it's not holding up to it for me. Like when I first heard it, it's like, oh, yeah, that's really good business advice or something. I'm not sure now.
It's not standing the test of time.
It's not, it's the, time's passing on this one. That's for sure. So I'd rather be pissed off than pissed on. So
I mean,
piss me off.
I could see
It's
it.
okay.
I can
It's
see it.
okay.
I can feel that.
Like, it's not horrible, but I don't think it rises to the level of where I was like with this at one point. Like at one point, it's just like, okay, this is like, Instagram quote, right?
I still think it's Instagrammable.
Well, it is now. Like this whole thing right now could be a little thing on Instagram, but not necessarily a still, like do or do. There is no try. That's Instagrammable, in my opinion. I'd rather be pissed off than pissed on. It needs this context, I think, to be really, the grammable. No? All right. Okay.
I don't know. I feel like if you had a photo of somebody like looking really angry,
I'd rather be pissed off than pissed on.
But like looking really angry, but like stacks of cash.
Okay. We got to try it.
Success leaves clues.
You're just saying random stuff now. You're saying random stuff. Okay. Let's roll. Ready to roll. Okay.
You've tuned in to COVID Marketing with Brent Kobayashi and Arthur Tutt, the show to support small business not just to survive, but to thrive.
That's right, we are live with COVID Marketing episode number 117, that show that's supporting you to thrive and survive. Week daily at 11, not week daily, every now and then at 11 Eastern Standard Time. If you have questions on marketing, business, or whatever, you let us know in the comments wherever you are seeing this. I am Brent Kobayashi, president of the Kobayashi and the Zeitguys, a marketing agency here in Toronto, Canada. And with me is all the things is Mr. Arthur Tutt, a marketing specialist here.
If you love all these metaphors, make sure you like and subscribe and hit the notify button so you never, ever miss a show.
You don't want to do that. I'm telling you.
You don't want to do that.
No, you don't want to do that. And I'm back to feeling like our pre-show is the best part of the show. So if you are just tuning in now and you missed the beginning, well, it's your loss, I suppose. Although, of course, it is, I think, going to be on live for a little while.
Quick question, though.
Was that on recording for a little while.
Was that our intro music or our outro music?
I have no freaking clue. Did it sound like outro music to you? The two kind of feel the same to me. We just chose one as intro, one as outro, and it felt like outro to you?
Yeah, but let's intro into this.
Hey, every ending is a new beginning.
That's right. That's where we were going with this.
We're going deep today. Okay.
So we got some questions.
Yes.
So let's just jump into a few more of these smorgasbord questions. So getting back to you, Brent, just to put you in the hot seat.
Sure.
How can you be more productive and inspired?
Well, okay. So I've done a lot of, not all of course, all is not a possibility, but I've done a lot of, morning stuff, personal development stuff. Some people call it Tim Ferriss stuff of, the stuff to do.
The stuff.
The stuff. You do all the stuff to be productive and inspired and get your goals and live life in a big way. Number one, I'd say is stop needing to be productive and inspired, in my opinion.
But Brent, I need to be productive. I need to be productive and get stuff done.
Yeah, and you need to be inspired too, right?
This is starting to sound like a catch-22.
Yeah. Well, yeah.
To get inspired, I need to not be inspired.
Yes, exactly. Like, so inspiration is a result, not a goal. As soon as you make it a goal, you can't get to it, because then you're actually getting in your way of opening yourself up to be inspired.
But I just want it so bad.
I know. Thank you. Yeah, it feels good, right? The good stuff feels good. That's why it's called good stuff. And the bad stuff feels bad. That's why we call it bad stuff. But it's just stuff, right? So as soon as you're sitting there going, I don't want the bad stuff, you're more likely, at least in my experience, to compound things, like to actually get more of, especially if you're trying to push things away. So I always say, as far as productivity and inspire, like one of the things you can do is play like realize, especially with this stuff, that you're playing a long game. As in, very specifically, and this might feel a little bit reductive. I don't know. I'm not sure what the word is, but you're playing, with your life. That's actually the game you're playing.
Not to sound too dramatic. Or should we cue dramatic music?
Yeah, doom, 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 doom. You're playing with your life. Doom, doom,
Put some,
doom,
like,
doom. But that's what you're doing. Like,
Jaws music in here, like.
what other, dude, what other game are we playing? Like, literally, what other game other than our game of life are we playing?
Minecraft?
Okay, that's within what? What's the bigger? Your life. So as in in terms of how to be productive and inspired, I'm just going to say, first of all, yes, inspiration is a result. It's not a goal. So kind of let go of that. And when inspiration comes, inspiration comes. What you can do is start to set yourself up so that inspiration is more likely to come. If it must come, then it's less likely to come. That's why you need to let it go so that it's more likely to come. So, not a goal. You don't do stuff to become inspired. You can do stuff that supports you, which opens up the possibility of being inspired. Like two very important distinctions. And then I'll say productivity, like being productive, that you definitely can force yourself to do, like make yourself do. But at least for me, and at least my observation with many, is productivity that's forced is usually short term. So if you must be or you need to be productive, you can do that for a short period of time. You do that long enough and you start getting sick. Ulcers, some people say that's how I got my cancer, whatever it happens to be. So that's where I would go with productivity and inspiration. What's your take on this stuff, Arthur? You're a 5 a.m. dude. You've got your practices that you put in place, which I think supports you to be productive and inspired. And I know that's the question: what practices should I do? But the first one for me is let go of it.
Well, I mean, I hate to let you down, but I've moved from a 5 a.m. guy to a 5:30 a.m. guy. So I had to let go of that one.
Yeah.
Part of that was about finding the balance point between wanting to get up and get work done and also making sure I wasn't burning myself out. So it was a nice little balance point there. But I feel like the point that you made is really powerful, which is that a lot of people try to like force motivation, but that inspiration and motivation tend to actually come from having a project, sticking to it, chipping away at it, getting work done, and seeing that kind of incremental progress and kind of feeling good at being like, wow, I got something done here. And that kind of then feeds the inspiration to keep you going.
So I'm going to argue that that's what works for you, right? So that you see things that being accomplished. Other people will be different.
Other people are like, I hate accomplishment.
Not argue, but assert. Yeah, no, it can be, right? Sometimes it is that. It's the little chunks. But I would also say that at different points in our lives, it's going to be different. So I love that you talked about it's not 5 a.m., it's 5:30. You're seeing what's working for you. At some point, the 5 a.m. and the 4:45 really worked. like, I can't remember who it was, but they're on the show recently. They talked about, I need discipline.
Yes.
Yeah. And sometimes discipline is the right thing to do. It's the thing that like, it feels good to say, this is what I'm doing. For a while there, I was getting up at 5 a.m. and going and sitting in the bathtub, an empty bathtub, because that woke me up. And that was great. And then I got stuff done and it felt really, really good. And then for a while there was like, this isn't working for me anymore. So
Grow and evolve.
yeah, it changes. Just realize that it changes. And when it changes, change with the change that comes along. So that's where I go with productive and inspired. Okay.
So we got another question coming at it from the point of view of a student, of an aspiring future digital marketer. And this is a really important question of how do you create that first portfolio as a digital marketing student when you're just getting started?
Okie dokie. So, how do you create? Okay, so I'm going to generalize this also to what do you do as a business with your portfolio as well, with your, I'll call it case studies. So, I guess what I'll say to that is fundamentally realize that the marketplace is what determines your value. Okay, so you can say, I don't want to work for free because I deserve more. The marketplace says, guess what? If you want a portfolio item, you need to work for free. That's where the marketplace is at. Portfolio work is like one of the ways, but also, I mean, I'll back up with that. Also remember, you're also part of the marketplace. So the more you've done, usually, not always, the more you yourself will feel confident in approaching this person and saying, this is what I can do, and this is the money that I want for this. And therefore, you're also willing to say no if the person looks at your portfolio, says, you don't have a portfolio, forget it. So I think they're more talking about like, what can I do in order to get that portfolio? I get it. I mean, the obvious answer is do things for whatever the marketplace is willing to pay you for, but also choose your portfolio items strategically, like align them with the direction that you're going and then pursue that direction. So meaning if you really want to go into tech as a digital marketer or as whatever it is, this is a generalized thought, then pursue that direction. And you might be willing to take half pay, work as an intern, work as a volunteer at a not-for-profit, and then you pursue that direction. So to give you an example, we're right now, we made a very strong decision to say we need to beef up our connection to our clients' bottom line. Started a little bit earlier than the pandemic, but it sure hit really close to it, right? Arthur, you started and then pandemic. So the thought—
I didn't bring it. It wasn't my fault.
Yeah, well, I don't know about that. You probably was like, I really wish that I was working. Like you probably manifested. I'm not going to go there. Forget it. I've got too much yayas today. So we're actually doing work for a lower, with a higher value, lower cost, because I want to make sure that we're doing a lot of this work. Then a company that has our experience and our expertise and our talent and all that kind of stuff, because we've mostly been selling website design and development, more core asset like logo, corporate identity, more core asset stuff, less very close to bottom line stuff, which is the stuff that you do and Maggie does and Libby does. So with that in mind, I'm far more aggressive in adding that kind of material because I want us as a corporate entity to really super learn that type of thing. So we're providing, I believe, a lot more value as far as that goes. And that's what, a digital marketing student who wants a portfolio is doing. They're providing a lot more value into the system so that they get the value that they're seeking, which is perhaps a portfolio piece, perhaps connections, whatever that happens to be. So this isn't something just for a digital marketing student. This is something for every business, wherever they happen to be. Sometimes what that happens to be is, and this is happening in the pandemic a lot because we've been talking to a lot of people, is, oh, I have to hustle like I did 25 years ago. Some people are not liking that because they thought they didn't have to do the digital marketing student portfolio gig anymore. So my prices have to be half. I need to give away free stuff, free classes, free this, whatever it happens. I need to do something in order to get attention because people aren't ready to buy as much as they were maybe a year ago, right? So this whole thing is still very relevant for an aged, mature business or career as it is for young. It just depends on what's actually going. Are you shifting into a new product or marketplace type thing, and therefore you need to get that experience or that reasons to believe, which is what a portfolio is. It's a reason to believe. Or has the world changed around you and now you need to be more in that portfolio mindset, as in how can I beef up my future prospects by the things that I'm willing to do right now? So that could be just that hustle, that willingness to strike a bargain or whatever it happens to be. That's what that is. I will say one thing though, and portfolio is interesting because portfolio usually is, look, I've done, like, it's a visual thing quite often. Really in digital marketing, you're talking more about case studies. So case studies has been on my mind a lot because every time I try to read a case study, it sucks. It is more like such and such person asked us to do something and aren't we wonderful? Like, it doesn't really give much value for the person reading the case study.
In terms of like understanding what happened?
Not even understanding what happened, but it's if I'm visiting your website and you have a case study there, why would I read it? To see how great you, because like there's, one of the things I've been thinking about is how do you make a great case study? Let me put it that way, because I see a lot of, they're mediocre. I read them and they're like, this doesn't mean anything. It doesn't. It's a little bit of braggy portfolio stuff, a little bit, and that's okay because you're showing success with a case study. So yeah, I mean, I actually wrote down a whole list of stuff because I've been really thinking, how do we want to bring case studies into our business? And it's still kind of a work in progress, but for me, the most important thing is, the person who's reading it, what do they want to get out of this? Like, really, what value are you giving, like actual value in having this case study for the person that's reading it? So, the reader should understand that, how does this apply to me? So see themselves in the case study. If that reader is going to make a decision to purchase the service, what do they need to know to make that decision to purchase the service? So for instance, like if you're doing SEO for manufacturing or financial planning for single moms, like you see how it's getting specific? It's not just SEO, it's SEO for this, because I think sometimes the person wants to know, will this work for me? And in that sense, maybe give some context to it. Like, think when you're creating a case study, what would rule out the person reading this case study from saying, I want this? So I think sometimes case studies are just one way I'm trying to brag. Bragging's not bad. I'm trying to convince you to buy from me is usually what the case study is. Whereas it's really should be saying, in this context, this works. So let me give you some context from which the person that where really resonates says, oh yeah, actually that's great. Or, oh, maybe I'm not ready for this yet. And now I understand the context of it. So some questions I think would be great to ask. And again, this goes for, like, as I said, financial planning for retirees, for single moms, for whatever. This is any, especially with service, businesses where you're providing a service. It's great. That's where all the case studies are. So things like at the beginning, like when you're first starting the engagement, think of your case study at that point. Like find out what's important to the client. What does success look like? So what are you actually trying to achieve with this? What assumptions did you have? What did you learn during the process? That's a great takeaway. What we learned during this process. Maybe even think at the end, what's still unknown? So what are the kind of holes in your case study, or what's still to be, like, you don't necessarily put all of this in the case study, but these are great questions, and some of this might get into the case study. And then what were the results? And I would actually say, and I hate this so much in our industry, especially in the AdWords industry, is stop the positive reporting. Like, it's not all like, yay, yay, yay. It's like, oh, this didn't work, or that didn't work, or something was quite interesting about this. These assumptions that we had, that we base this on, didn't come to fruition. That's a case study. Like, if you actually go to case studies and you're studying them in, like, if you're getting your MBA, your Masters of Business Administration, if you're doing that, the case studies are not like the case studies you read on a website. They're actually studies of the case. And so bring a little bit more of that into it. Actually, that's a good idea. I hadn't thought about it. I think I want to read some actual case studies, like real case studies, not the fake.
From the professionals.
From the the professors. Yes, from the professionals. Yes, that's how you create a portfolio as a digital marketing student, Arthur. In my opinion.
Easy peasy.
And I have lots of them. All right. That's it. Okay. Thank you for joining us, everybody out there. I am going to get ready. We're going to go into our outro, and then we will be done. Okay. I'm going to do the intro music as requested from you. Actually, both music files are called intro and intro 2. So these are both the begin. This ending is the beginning of something amazing. So if you liked what you saw in this show today, this needs to be the beginning. This ending needs to be your beginning of doing something. How's that?
Circular logic.
Yeah, okay. Something like that.
Just goes around and around.
You've tuned in to COVID Marketing with Brent Kobayashi and Arthur Tutt, the show to support small business not just to survive, but to thrive.
All right. Thank you for tuning in on this wonderful Monday, October 19th. On Wednesday's show, we'll have something. We actually don't know anymore. We might just
No, there's something. There's something.
Is there something?
There's something.
On Wednesday's show, we will have something. That's it. I really like the idea of make this ending be the beginning of something amazing. That works really well for Kill the Guru. That works well for everything. All right. Thanks for watching, everyone. Have a wonderful day, and let this ending be the beginning of something amazing for you.
And on